Good afternoon, Xbox Nation. Welcome to today's hot and tasty new episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. And I am one of your hosts, Mr. Boomstick XL. And this is a joyous day for sure. Not only is there a ton of Xbox news to get into, not only is the Tokyo Game Show going on as we speak with some pretty interesting announcements for Xbox, but we are blessed to have royalty in the building. And yes, that is correct. The Xbox Pope will be joining us, talking about his new custom controller business, giving us a background history of who the Pope is, besides being one of the most fantastic artists in the entire community. But we're also going to get his opinion on some of the bigger topics we're going to be covering. And of course, let's get into the introductions, and we'll start with our special guest. And of course, again, royalty has once again blessed the building in the form of the Xbox Pope. Welcome to the show, my brother.
Yeah, it's about time, because I know I've talked about coming on for a long time. So it's great to be finally on the show.
Well, it's certainly great to have you. Cannot wait to hear some of your background history. Maybe we'll throw some gaming history in there as well. And of course, we're going to talk about your custom controller business, which, by the way, is something that the community has been asking for. And my favorite particular controller is, of course, the Coder, which is and it seems to go right along hand in hand with Cyberpunk 2077, but we will get into that momentarily. So let's continue with the introductions. Next up, I should say, is someone that keeps the grease in the cogs rolling every show that we do, and that is Zemi Game. Zemi, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for saying yes. About a year ago, for letting me on the show, man. And I am super, super excited, because this is going to be a fantastic show. Pope, I'm a big fan of yours. I love your artwork. And this is actually the first time we've ever, gotten to, speak, I guess I was going to say in person, but we're not really in person, are we? But I guess through voice chat, right? But then I'm also really, really excited as well, because tomorrow, Boom, you know what happens?
Oh, Mafia comes out.
My dream comes true. Mafia Definitive Edition finally releases, and I'm going to try my hardest to beat that entire game in one day, and then beat it again the next day. Wow. I don't know. But yeah, super excited to be here. Boom. Can't wait to, jump into it, man.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And yes, I am going to be buying the Mafia, the definitive edition, if you will, tomorrow on Xbox. Today, I actually purchased Hades on the Nintendo Switch, which is a game that it awesome. Looks really, really good. I cannot wait to get into that. Obviously, I tagged you in Boxer Bear. Speaking of Boxer Bear, who is not only a part of this show, he is part of the Switch Brothers movement. And, Boxer Bear, you have been putting out some absolutely astounding opinion pieces on your YouTube channel, which has exploded on the scene. Welcome to today's show.
Well, thank you, Boom. Thank you. Yeah, my channel is doing great at the moment. I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone for the fantastic support. I'm particularly happy to see you're doing amazing too, Boom. Your stream from 2 days ago hit almost 20,000 views. This is awesome, dude. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I mean, it has been a whirlwind. This week it's the most content I've ever published and put out. There's been a lot of news to talk about. I've done 2 impromptu shows, both on Monday afternoon and one I did yesterday, and it was 40,000 plus views so far this week, which is insane. 600 plus new subs, and the love from the community has been nothing short of amazing. So thank you for that, and of course, thank you for supporting. Obviously, if you're new to the channel, listen, we want to say welcome, because we, obviously this is an Xbox show, but I do have multi-plat shows both in primetime gaming and Breakfast with Boom, which will be happening tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. And everyone is welcomed in this circle. This is an inclusive kind of community that I am a part of, and as a part of Double Barrel Gaming. So if you are a gamer that just likes talking about gaming, this might be the channel you might want to subscribe, because we keep it real, we keep it 100, and we also keep it extremely #fun. So let's continue with the other introduction, and it's going to be someone that has not only exploded on the scene himself, because not only is he on this particular program each and every week, he has found his way to 2 other very prominent podcasts. VJ, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, Boom. Thank you for having me on today. I'm excited for the show because Zemi's excited. Boxenberger, it's always a pleasure. Xbox Pope, I've come across you a couple of times, but I'm really looking forward to learning more about you. And Boom, I've been on like 5 podcasts for the past 3 weeks, and I have some semblance now of the love and the effort and definitely the energy you've been pouring into the community via your channel over the last several years. Anyway, with all that aside, Boom, I'm happy to be back, and as always, thank you for letting me speak my truth.
Oh, well, absolutely. And you are certainly have been a tremendous addition to the, to this podcast each and every week. And let me catch up on a few of the super chats. First of all, Sikyo Yumi dropped an outstanding $5 super chat before the show even went live. Said, "Good morning, Boov. Go check out the email. The wait is almost over from Microsoft and Xbox. It shows AC, Valhalla, and Dirt 5 in Game Pass." That is epic. And you know something? We're going to talk about it in more detail tomorrow, because I'm trying to get some more clarification behind the scenes with a few connections. And I know that Larry Herb, who was on this show on July 23rd, and that's up on the channel if you want to catch up on that. I got a chance to hang out with Larry for 20 minutes. And on Twitter yesterday, he debunked that Dirt 5 and AC Valhalla would be going into Xbox Game Pass day and date. I'm going to be honest with you. I know that he debunked it, and I know that no one is more honest and pure than Larry Herb. But I'm kind of wondering if it was a mistake that they're just trying to cover up until the launch of the console and then drop the megaton that these 2 big AAA games are in Game Pass. I don't know if that's possible, but my God, what if you bring home your new Xbox or Xbox with an S?
And the wording from Major Nelson was very, very weird in his tweet when he debunked it. So he left definitely some doors open there.
Listen, I'm always in the camp that if they don't say no, there's a chance. So with that said, thank you for the super chat. And like I said, once I get some more clarification, I'm trying to reach out to some deeper channels as we speak, and we're going to get into it potentially tomorrow if I can get some clarification. But I also want to thank Sean Carpenter, who drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says, "Taco Bell promos are up. Wish me luck, boys." Yeah, it would be kind of dope if you won an Xbox Series X. That would be kind of dope. Smitty Smith, our brother, bringing us back to church once again, drops an outstanding $10 super chat and says, "Great stream yesterday." Holy cow, hold on a sec. Boom and Zemi, it looks like Boom has gone global with an international cast. Salute Boom, Zemi, VJ, Archimedes, and the Xbox Pope, the Book of X. Yeah, we welcome everybody here. This is a inclusive kind of a show and community, and the more people from around the world that we can get to listen to this show, who knows? Maybe, just maybe, we will be as big as the famous dealer, Colt Eastwood, and those guys over on RDX. Maybe, just maybe, we'll see. But you know what? Those guys completely. If you missed this Tuesday's RDX, I say go give them a watch. Not only was the show fantastic, it was really good. A lot of special guests. Aaron Greenberg was in the chat, which is pretty damn cool, and they broke 5,000 people watching in the live chat. Do you understand that these guys on RDX get more views and are more popular than the conglomerate IGN podcast? That is a big deal. That is a really, really big deal.
And well-deserved.
And well-deserved, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, IGN is garbage. Let's call a spade a spade. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. IGN is just pure shit. And I'll say that live on the air because I don't owe them anything, any credence whatsoever. I will talk well about Dealer and those guys over there. There's no hair on my tongue. But listen, let's continue with the super chats. First of all, Elemental P.O. Oh, wow, a very generous friend of the show who has finally come back into the chat. Elemental P.O., thank you for being here, brother. And, of course, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, congrats, Boom, for the record views this week. Been listening. Xbox Japan hitting it out of the park. Yeah, we're gonna tackle what's been going on there because, quite frankly, Zemi had some really fantastic points of who this particular show was for. And I think, and Zemi, I don't want to take your words for it, so we will wait for that particular topic to come up because, quite frankly, I think Microsoft might have just hit a grand slam with what went on at Tokyo Game Show. The Bad Boy Live, welcome to the show, my brother. He drops an outstanding $10 super chat. Says Microsoft kicked the door to Japan down today at the Tokyo Game Show. I cannot wait to play some of these games, both exclusive and those that were originally exclusive to PlayStation 4, including Resident Evil 8. Yeah, well, I mean, I think that was going to be coming to the Xbox anyway, but the fact that it's there and they're promoting it in Japan, it's a big deal. The Regulator 951 drops an outstanding $5 super chat, and he says this: Colt Eastwood just confirmed in his new video that from here on now anything made by Bethesda is exclusive to Xbox and PC. He breaks it down perfectly. Yeah, listen, we are going to get into. I'm writing an original topic for Monday evenings primetime gaming. It's going to use the word double standard. It's going to use the word lots of terminology that has been used against Xbox in the last couple of days. We're going to bring it to light. We're going to go deep into that. I'm currently writing it. I don't want to kind of let the cat out of the bag, but it's going to be a big topic on Monday. And Black Eyed Dog drops an outstanding $5 super chat. Says, I pre-order an expansion SSD? The answer is, I think you do. I pre-ordered mine this morning at Best Buy. I don't like that they charge my card already and then they put the money back in. I hate when they do that, but I want that SSD and I think it's going to be worth it. Smitty Smith shows his generosity once again. We said, we all love you, Boom. You do us New Yorkers proud. Thank you. Well, thank you for the compliment, dude. And I love all you guys back. Neo Mentum, my brother, drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, Boom, blowing up. I knew he would. Yeah, he has been behind me the whole time, and he has been telling me that this was going to happen. Even though I didn't believe him, he believed in me. So thank you for that. And it says, Dragon here, Yobi. Hey, Yobi, what's going on, dude? Long time no see, brother. I hope that you are well. He says, peace, love, life. And he goes, and we know that is Yobi when he's talking that, because that is the best part of him. He says, Boom, dropping some positivity and love to you, my man. And Xbox Pope, again, I'm behind you all the way. A panel, peace, love, life, love and prosperity. Wish you all good health. Miranda is the only one I love from IGN. Miranda's good people. I do like her. I think that she's fun. When you hear her talk, she is Miranda Sanchez, I believe that you mean. Yeah, I do like Miranda a lot. I'm not saying everyone in IGN is garbage. I should have said that from the beginning. There are a few people over there that I have lost a tremendous amount of respect for, and to kind of throw the entire IGN under the bus without clarifying that kind of is on me as a host. But I don't want to start a war. I just say that I think IGN has lost a tremendous amount of clout with their pandering that they do for one company and not the other. And I think that it's gross. I think it's unprofessional, and I think that they have stooped to a new low when it comes to, we're more concerned about clicks than content, and that's disgusting. So I'll leave it at that. Kirby Louise, who was a guest yesterday, great to have you on the show, and we will have him back. Drops an outstanding $5 super chat. Says the new official series, Tan is super cute. Xbox anime anamorphism mascot. Oh yeah, that was kind of dope. I kind of figured you would dig that for sure. And we also had we had a $20. Okay, we did get the one. Thanks so much for that. So listen, let's reel this back in and let's get into the Xbox Pope, our very special guest. And Pope, listen, you and I have been talking for years. And this is the
Many
first
years.
time that you had a chance, and we were able to get our schedules together to get you on the program. And what we wanted to do today is two things. One, besides getting your company's information out there, so people could look into potentially buying a custom controller from Pope Art. What I wanted to do is first, maybe we get some new people who don't know who the Xbox Pope is. Now, again, it's probably a very small list of people because you are very popular. But why don't you give us a background of who the Xbox Pope is?
Oh God, who is he?
Who is he? Is what we want to know.
I kind of guess he's the guy who's just super friendly. He'll do anything for anybody, and he's always trying to sort of crack a smile. Let's say, but what he also does is he's very observant. You can see that some people maybe down on their luck or not having such a good day. So I'll create a little bit of fun fan art for them.
Yeah.
And just to sort of brighten their day up, or make them feel a little bit special. Or the other side of things, I might look at streamers who I think, they're actually quite good, or YouTubers, and I'll create some art just to sort of give them attention, So that's kind of the role of Xbox Pope, really. He's just trying to make people smile.
Well, listen, one of the things that immediately jump off the page when talking about you is how genuine you are as a person, and how your art for both the PlayStation, because you've recently moved to making special, custom PlayStations as well.
Yeah.
And how people really gravitate towards the artwork that you do, and for multiple consoles, both the PlayStation 4 you've done it for, the PlayStation 5 you've done some amazing Spider-Man renders, but more specifically for the Xbox community, because obviously you are the Xbox Pope. So let's push PlayStation off to the side where they belong, and let's bring the Xbox in front and center, which I think that they have earned, especially in the last couple of weeks. Now, these designs that you do are themed. And some of the themes that you have put together have been everything from anime to some of the hottest IPs, as well as, of course, stuff like Resident Evil. You've done a ton of Marvel renders. Where do you get where does the imagination start and stop when you're designing these unbelievable pieces of art?
So obviously it starts off with lots of requests. Not just on Twitter, but on Instagram, So, and then I'll compile a list, and there is no sort of going down the list. I kind of just bounce around. Depends what mood I'm in. But what inspires it? Sometimes I'll dig a little into someone, not into their personal life, but I'll find some research on them, that stuff that they like, maybe colors that they like, and I'll try and personalize it a little bit, or maybe put some hidden Easter eggs in there, just so when they're looking at it, and sometimes they don't always notice at first. Sometimes it's a couple of days later, or maybe it's even a week later, and they go, "Oh my God, I couldn't believe you've just put this in. How did you know about that?" It's but to me, they're meant to be quite personal to the people anyway, because people say, when are you going to make these real? When are you going to when's Xbox going to hire you and make these real? But to be fair, then they're never meant to be real, and at the same time, they're never meant to sort of work in a sense, because they're over complicated, and I deliberately do that for a reason, because in the past when I've done concept art, people tend to steal the idea and make them,
Well, I mean, obviously you're listen, one of the I think the biggest thing you've ever done, which I thought was super important to your brand, was watermark all of the work that you do. And I think we all know who the Xbox Pope is. And when
well, there's people who actually cut that bit out, but they get spotted, I get messages saying someone's putting your work on their website, or someone's putting their work as a thumbnail, and I think one thing you need to learn, and I've learned a long time ago being a designer, you should never look at things as people stealing or copying, or it's more inspirational. So again, if they've got my work out there, it's only promoting me.
That's true. That's definitely true for sure. Speaking of promoting, what I'd like to kind of do is I'd like to turn this on to what your new venture. I think a lot of people you've heard the requests. Me personally, I'll say this right now, and I don't know if Aaron Greenberg's in the chat. I highly doubt he's tuning into this small show, but it would be kind of dope if he did. But who knows? Who knows?
Do you want us to send him a message?
No, absolutely not. We only want everything. If Aaron has the time and he wants to pop in here, by all means, I'll send him a link and we'll get him on the show. How about that? But one of the things I've always said to you personally, because we talk, if you don't know, Pope and I, we're very good friends behind the scenes. We talk almost all the time. And I've always said, and I've said it, I've done it publicly. I've tagged Phil Spencer, I've tagged Mac Booty, of course, I've tagged, Aaron Greenberg, that you should be working for them. I think that, the custom console business is a lucrative one in a way where you get people. I mean, listen, I've owned as many as 4 different Xboxes, regardless of whether or not that was a 360 or the Xbox One. When it came to having custom consoles, I'm a fan of the brand, so I'm going to continue to buy custom work. Is just who I am. But you took it a step further. You decided that you were going to create your own business, and I believe it's called Pope_Art. And you started with custom controllers. And I want you to kind of give the people that are listening. We have over 500 people here already.
Yeah.
What is Pope Art, and how did you come up with the idea to start this business? What drove you to want to do this?
So I mean, I do speak with the Xbox guys, Phil, all the partnership guys, even the guys who design the actual custom work controllers at Xbox, even I talk quite frequent with David Bryan, the guy who designed the Elite controller, so it's no secret that I do have private chats with the guys at Xbox, and I understand people want us to work there, and hey, it would be cool, if if Phil says, come work for Microsoft or Xbox, hey. But I think what people also have to understand as well is then that'll restrict the limitations on what I definitely can and cannot do, so gone is the fan art, really, because I'm working for the industry itself,
Right.
So I think being a good friend and having that close relationship, and having their expertise and advice guiding us on what I should do, what I shouldn't do. But in all the meetings I've ever had, especially before I started the Pope Art business, was I cannot degrade the Xbox brand, and when you buy a controller, like a Gears controller, let's say, or one of the other sort of custom controllers Xbox does, they're beautiful, the perfect thumbs, the perfect buttons, even the artwork on there is etched in, or it's it's perfect, and I understand there is other controller companies out there who do custom work, like colorware or even scuff or
Yes. Mm-hmm.
controller gear, who've just recently done the squadron controller, and they all know who I am. They all, I have had talks with them. It's not like they don't know who I am, but they have got their own companies to run and their own problems. So trying to sort of also put on board my custom work, it's quite difficult. And what people don't realize is when you're starting to get into custom work is having to deal with quantities, because it's gone or the one or two controllers, it's into the thousands, the 2,000, the 3,000s,
Yeah.
And all that comes at a cost. And I think what people need to realize about custom controllers themselves is there isn't a special shop that you can go to and go, can I have 2,000 Xbox controllers, please? And you can't really go to Xbox and go, can I have 2,000 controllers? You have to go through the right channels. You have to find these people, and then going off the back of my controllers, and one thing that you probably notice with other controller people that do custom art is there's two types of Xbox controllers, and maybe not many people know this, but there's the official ones and then there's the non-official ones. So you have to kind of be careful, because although you think, all right, I'm paying $80, $100 for a custom spray job, the chances are at that price that they're not the real Xbox controllers.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to use the word, because fair enough to China if they can make things, but they're just Chinese knockoffs type thing. So but if that's how they make money, then that's how they make money, you see. So you have to kind of be careful when it comes to that. So that's one of the things that I've had to source is, where do you find official controllers, And I know a lot of the comments were when I launched mine was, well, are there going to be next gen controllers? Well, not yet, because you can't even buy them in the shops yet, So
Right.
How the hell do I get a hold of them if you can't buy them? So unfortunately, I've had to kind of use last gen's controllers for now, until I build the brand up. And then there's also the next issue is the faceplates. So there's a number of ways of doing faceplates, and you'll probably be find in the lower price market is there may be stickers, or it's an ultra thin vinyl that they apply on, and they'll sell them at a low cost because producing them's super easy, and they just print these things out and apply it on, and then they ship it out to you. The other process is spray painting. So you would have a custom artist who would spray paint on the controllers, and then the last process would be hydro dipping. So they would hydro dip, the artwork or the pattern onto a controller. So that's probably why you'll see in a lot of sort of sites where you can buy cheaper controllers is the scrolly patterns, or the like splash paints or things like that, because that's all it is. It's just a simple process. But at the same time, the watch out there is the chances of them lasting a couple of weeks or a few months could be quite slim, So especially if you're going to use it, if you're just going to display it on the shelf, well, it's fair, it's going to be okay. But my goal was always to achieve Xbox standard controllers,
Yeah, high quality, and it seems like that you've been able to merge that. Now, the one thing I want to do before we obviously move on to, of course, the main topics of the show.
Pardon me, Boom, for interrupting, but may I ask one additional question? Being the engineer in the room here, I have to ask this to the Pope. So, I've seen your teasers and videos now, and I've always wondered, did you create? Are they now custom molded? Do you have created molded tools, or is it laser engraved, or how is it done now?
So that's what I was going to lead on to. So speaking to the the hardware team at Xbox and stuff, it's a process of so it's called like IDML printing, or there's another version of IML printing. So it's heat impregnating the design onto the controllers. So you can imagine that is a a lot of cost element, you see. So the only way you can get that cost down is if I said, if a bit like Microsoft, is if I start producing 50,000 run. Well, I can't do 50,000 runs because I ain't got the funds to pay for 50,000 controllers, So, but I can do smaller runs, but obviously at a cost, you see. So that's the kind of route I went down. So they're not sprayed. It's not a sticker. It's not hydro dipped. It's the same sort of quality as you would get if you were purchasing an Xbox custom controller. The only downside element is they're not etched, because obviously I can't do the etching tool. But maybe it's next year, because things always move, and I think now that I've launched these, it's triggered off a couple of more people who go. And what you've got to also remember is there is no controllers out there that look like mine.
No, that is for sure.
And to achieve what I've done is fairly new to the industry, to create that almost three-dimensional look, but at the same time being two-dimensional.
Well, like for instance, the coder looks like it's torn. Like it looks like if you were to touch it, it would be torn and it would be raised, but it's not.
Exactly.
It's absolutely incredible. You know what? Real quick, what I want to do, and before we move on, I'll obviously get some questions from the guys in the panel. I want to just move into the controversy, and I want to bring that up because I think people, especially the ones causing the trouble, if you will, don't understand what goes into and what risks go into starting a small business and putting everything on the line to get these custom controllers done the right way. And I don't think they understand what the right way is. And I know that one of the controversies was the price of the controllers. Now, folks, I when you go to have custom work done, whether that be for your home, whether that be for your car, whether that be for your controller, you are going to pay a premium because it is artwork that you cannot get anywhere else. And just kind of bring everybody up to speed, the controversy that came behind the pricing of these controllers.
Oh, I knew people were going to pick up on the cost. But going back to my first thing that I told you is I cannot degrade the brand, and one thing I cannot do is give controllers to the community that I wouldn't even purchase. So it was always going to be a difficult one, and what people don't see behind the scenes is I've had to create a whole new box as well. So I've had to, I had to design that. I had to get it manufactured, prototypes made, the foam all die cut, and then I give the extra edition because the community is fantastic and I love them so much. As I paid for the pin to be manufactured, created, and it's also in the box. So you're not just buying a controller. You're buying the controller, the box, the pin, and because these are kind of, let's say, a limited edition. It's just once in a lifetime, we got to remember, I've had so many requests for Pope to do real controllers. This was your opportunity, but also as a business, what people don't see is there isn't a factory just around the corner from my house who can do this. You know, I've got to get
Yeah.
this done. I've got to get this done in 4 different countries. So someone's making the box, someone's making the pins, someone's making the controllers. Then it's all got to get imported, shipped to one location, then put together, then shipped out. So, you know, this isn't just like me sitting back in my chair and watching the money roll in. You know, it's like it took us 2 months to design them, because what you've got to also consider is the Xbox controller is got a number of different curvatures. So there's some sharp curves, there's some not so sharp curves. Like there isn't a printer down the road that can just sort of print over the top of this. You know, it needs specialized equipment to kind of do this. You know, so when you add all them things up, it comes to a price. You know. And that's all it is, really, you know. But as time goes on, and I'm also learning as well, I can start, and I'm trying to fight with a bloody world that's riddled in COVID, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, suppliers have been difficult to get, controllers have been difficult to get, because, you know, they're just not making them, because factories are shut down, and workers are being sort of paid off work, or so there's a lot of things that I've had to deal with these past couple of months, but still be jolly on Twitter, you know, and still be happy. And then when you get these negative feedback without people thinking first about what was actually involved in creating that simple one controller that you can buy, you know, and I think the beauty of me coming on the show and explaining the process is listen, I can deal with negative feedback. It's the fact, what I want you to do really is just have a think before you start jumping down someone's neck.
Yes.
And just realize, like, when you're doing something, it's not as, like, I haven't got a magic button on my keyboard that just makes controllers. I haven't got a, you know, a shop down the road that can just say, here, make 10,000 of them for us, you know. Like, it's like any business, you know, it just takes time to develop. Costs can be high at first, but as time goes on, you know, things will get easier, things will get cheaper, things will get, and hopefully one day I can reach out to the whole community, you know. But at the minute, I can only reach out to a certain few, you know. Let's say if people who've got a little bit of sort of extra funds, you know.
Pope, you're doing this all out of the UK? You're in the UK, right?
I'm based in the UK, but it's actually coming from the US.
Right. No, I can sympathise with you, and I'm just from speaking to you and just listening to you. I know your investment must be up close to, if not surpassing, 6 figures. And I won't mention any companies, but I spent 5 years in Hong Kong and China, specifically working with manufacturers, accessories, and electronics. So I feel your pain, and even being there on the ground working with those guys, it can be difficult, let alone being sitting in the UK. So tip my hat to yourself.
Exactly, and like you say, I can't. You know, I'm on lockdown in the UK. I can't travel to places, and
that's what makes it all the more astonishing.
So I knew it was going to hit on the launch of the PS5 and the Xbox. So, you know, I'm not trying to justify myself to make people say, hey, we feel sorry for Pope now. I shouldn't, you know, let's go and buy his controller. Listen, this is not a race. Like, if it takes next year for you to buy one, then just take your time, you know. This is just me experimenting. It's me trying to sort of achieve something where I want people to have Pope work in their hands and treasure them, or put them on display, or whatever it is that they want to do with them, you know. But at the same time, I've also got to make sure that they actually work, you know. Like, I can't just buy, I don't know, some Chinese knockoffs and keep my fingers crossed that they actually work, you know. So there is a quality check to all this as well, you know. and again, it comes at a cost.
Well, I mean, look, I'll say this. First of all, I want to thank you for coming on the show and explaining it, because I think that there was a misunderstanding or potentially a misconception that custom artwork is cheap. As a matter of fact, let me just catch up on some of the super chats that have come in.
And just quickly, if you type in a code, Pope Art code, you get 30% off right now. So there's $75 I'm taking off.
Wow.
And I'm not even making any money in the first place, so I'm in pure negative equity. But hey, I'm doing this I just want people to appreciate the controllers. So it was never really about the funds for me. It was, in fact, what people didn't realize as part of my business plan was any money that I made, it was going back into the community. So, when we see people go, oh, I'm struggling, I can't buy an Xbox, or I can't do this. I could have funded that, you see.
I see, man. And listen, folks, you're not only are you an incredible artist, but you are definitely one of the most kind and genuine people I've ever had the pleasure of not only meeting but having on this particular show. So, folks, you heard it right here live on the air. If you want an Xbox Pope custom controller, right now you can get $75 off with a code that all you have to type in is what, Pope Art?
Yeah, it's just in the checkout section. So just I think it's to the left. It'll say coupon or coupon code or something code. And you just type in there Pope Art and it'll instantly deduct. The only thing I can't control, and this has been the biggest pain in the arse, and I think it's for most businesses really, is I can't control the taxes in people's countries.
Oh, well, dude, I mean, taxes are taxes, brother. There's two things about life: taxes and debt. You get both of them.
So, I'm trying to be as kind as I can. I'm trying to do my best. Even people in the UK, we get stung twice because we get the shipping import tax from the US and the UK. So I am trying to get a bulk sent to the UK. So then those who are interested in the UK, I'll cover the cost. I'll actually incur the cost of the import from the US. And if you can just sort of pay for the postage and packaging in the UK, then it's only a few quid really. But it just means I'm trying to give as much options as I can to do this.
And well,
like I said, I'm not a Microsoft. I'm not an Xbox multi-billion-dollar company. So it's easy for them guys, but just not for me right now,
Well, listen, everything that you're doing is for the love of the community. And I think that you're going to see the community is going to respond in kind, simply because your controllers are unbelievably designed. They are original designs. They check all the boxes of what being a fan is all about and wanting to celebrate your fandom with custom work. As a matter of fact, let's catch some of these super chats, and we're gonna move on to the first big topic of the day. Philly Eagle, a very generous friend of the show, drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, "To the persistent Mister, you better have some respect for his name, Spencer. Haters out there, 6 studios per Phil and 23 studios now under Phil. Going up against Jim Ryan." Yeah, I mean, listen, what Phil has done is nothing short of unbelievable. He's taking the Xbox brand, its fan base, its IPs, and its commitment to this community in a direction that we've always wanted, and I think we're all going to get. Dragonheart Yobi drops an outstanding additional $10 super chat and says, "Boom is right. I'm getting some Mass Effect custom jewelry made, and it's going to run me $1,200. People really don't understand custom comes with a price because it's a personal style." Very well said. Smitty Smith drops another outstanding $5 super chat and says, I'm in with you, Xbox Pope. I would rather pay a premium price for a premium product. And also, your name and reputation is on the line too. And Pixelbit G, another generous friend of the show, drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, "Hey Pope, you don't need to explain the price. The work speaks for itself, and I was happy to support it. So that you plan to buy more. He plans to buy more. Cheers, man." And like I said, I think you're going to see people are going to respond in kind. But one of the smaller topics that happened to pop up in the chat, and I just want this. This is. We're going to go into this more detailed on other shows, but Starfield has just been confirmed as to be an Xbox Series X/S PC exclusive, meaning Starfield is not coming to a PlayStation 5. And like I said on yesterday's impromptu discussion about whether or not these titles, these IPs should remain exclusive, I'm still in the camp that I would not let one IP onto the PlayStation. I would not let one character from any of these IPs even sit next to something that said PlayStation. And I say that not to be a dick. I say that because right now, Sony has the market. They have mind share. They have market share. They also have Spider-Man. They found a way to take Spider-Man, the face of Marvel, from a third-party multi-plat game and lock it behind their box. Not only do I find it to be disgusting, it was so off-putting that I originally canceled my pre-order. Now, I came around because I was kind of cutting off my nose to spite my face because I really wanted to play Avengers. But with that said, the community was devastated. And I'm not saying you want to kind of do a tit-for-tat kind of a situation, but I think that Microsoft needs to leverage the $7.5 billion that they spent and make sure that the Xbox community not only feels special, but we deserve to feel special. And how do you make your customers feel special? By giving them stuff you can't find anywhere else. And I hope that someone from Microsoft is listening and they take this message back to Phil. He said it. He said, when he was talking about it on CNN, about how they did this deal to let the Xbox community know they're in it for the long haul. And I think they did that in spades. But I kind of want to just talk about real quick what's going on in, of course, Tokyo, Japan. A little show called the Tokyo Game Show has kicked off. And quite frankly, there's been some pretty big news. Now, Zemi, you got a chance to watch the show, and you said something pretty damn interesting in the private speak when we were behind the scenes. I kind of want you to bring that back out to light. What were your thoughts of what they showed?
I mean, ultimately, I thought that the show was really, really, really well done. I was actually shocked at how well they, showed off the Xbox brand in Japan. And, as I was watching it on IGN. I kept noticing that there was a lot of people, in the chat. And they were, just kind of like, what is going on? Like, they were just like, they were kind of confused. I mean, it almost seemed like they kind of thought it was, that it was supposed to be just another Xbox event, right? But a big reason why I feel that Xbox did so strong in this event is because the event wasn't necessarily directed towards, any of us in this podcast, and probably anyone, in the chat right now, unless you live in Japan, right? Like the show that they just did was solely directed towards the Japanese audience, and the way that they handled that with the developers coming on and explaining the game either in English or even in Japanese, I thought was very, very well done, because the Japanese culture is vastly different than ours. I mean, if you go and watch Japanese news, or even like a Japanese television program or whatever, like, you'll see that they are a lot more upbeat and a lot more energized and than like American news or American television programs and stuff like that. And they were really able to capture that during this during the TGS. And I was just blown away, and how Phil Spencer opened up the show and how he was delivering the lines, I just thought fell very, very well into the audience that he was specifically speaking to at that moment in time, that being the Japanese audience. And I was very, very impressed with how Xbox did their show and perceived the Xbox brand to that audience. I thought it was very, very well done.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't get a chance to watch it. Obviously, I'm doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes, getting the show ready, doing house chores because, folks, I actually still work at home. So I make sure that the missus comes home to a nice hot meal and a clean house because, that's what good husbands do. But I am going to watch it after the show. But I do have all of the notes in front of me because that's what a good producer does. And one of the games that I got a chance to take a look at that looked absolutely incredible was RPG Time, The Legend of Right. Wow. Not only is it going to be optimized for the Series X and S, which is dope because the game looks amazing, but it's launching on November 10th. And we're going to get into some of the big launch games, one of which that was confirmed, actually two that were confirmed. One was originally a PlayStation game, a PS5 exclusive, no longer a PS5 exclusive, and also another one that was confirmed that has me very my interest peaked. Let's go, Boxer Bear. Did you get a chance to learn about anything that they were doing at the Tokyo Game Show? Any announcement shock you?
Well, I didn't have the chance to watch it live. Obviously, I was at work when it aired, but I, of course, went over what they announced. What stood out to me is Nier Replica. We got the first time real in-engine footage for that game. It's gonna come out in spring next year. Looks really amazing. I'm usually not the biggest fan of Japanese RPGs. JRPGs are not really my kind of thing. But I got the chance to play Nier Automata, I think last year somewhere, and I was really surprised. It was an absolute fantastic game.
It really is a good game. If you missed out on that, man, my God, it's so good.
Yeah. It was incredibly well done, especially when you played it a second and a third time, because the game really changed and you got the true ending after the third playthrough. I've never experienced something like that in a game before, and I can't wait to play that game. The other announcement, to be frank, a couple of those games I didn't even know what they are, but the Nier announcement is what stood out to me.
Yeah, I thought that was a big announcement. Personally, the fact that because you got to remember, originally that was PlayStation only, and the fact that that is going to be coming to an Xbox near you is pretty interesting. Another little tidbit of information that I found to be, because I'm an old school cat. Like I played obviously in the arcades, and Samurai Showdown, as it's known here in the States, or Samurai Spirits in Japan, has always held a very close place in my personal heart, especially my brother Neo Mental, who's listening, and we fought each other for hours on at a time playing this game, and they have confirmed that Samurai Spirits is launching, which was the 3D brawler. That's launching for the Series X and S on November 10th, and it's optimized, which is another big title. I mean, again, it's a fighter, but if you're like me and my brother Neo Mental, and we're old school cats, and you like fighters, this is a big one. The other one that came to mind, and again, not a big title for many, but certainly for old school cats like me, R-Type Final 2. I mean, that's a side-scrolling game. R-Type, man, that's you want to talk about OG side-scrollers, man. It looked absolutely fantastic, and I cannot wait to get my hands on that as well. VJ, I'm not sure if you got a chance to look up anything that went on at the TGS. They confirmed that Pragmata obviously is coming to Xbox. That looks absolutely fantastic. They showed Resident Evil 8 Village, which we already know is a multi-plat. But the Balan Wonderworld looked insanely cool. And that also is coming to Xbox as well. And that is launching on March 26th. That's obviously going to be first quarter of next year, and still looks good. Did you get a chance to take a look at the Tokyo Game Show?
No, I didn't, Boom. But after hearing what Zemi's perception was of the Xbox event, I'm really interested to go away and have a look at it after the show. But regarding your comment below Wonderworld is I still remember Nights on the Sega Saturn, and that was completely different, out of the blue, really, from Sega. I know it had a little bit of pop-in, but it was something fantastic, and it's just a shame it's taken them so long to come up with another project, right? But I'm definitely looking forward to that one.
Yeah, it looks really good. I just want to kind of real comment before I bring the Pope in on this. Is that Phil Spencer being out there? Phil Spencer, setting up one of the things I think that if you look back at Microsoft, one of their Achilles heel has been the way that they present themselves. Not necessarily in this country. It's been a bit of an Achilles heel in other countries. And I think, Zemi, you kind of really knocked it out of the park by saying that this show was presented not for us. I mean, are American companies covering it? Yeah, sure. It's video game news. It's the Tokyo Game Show. So it's important.
Yeah.
But the way that you described it on how it was presented to the Japanese community that is potentially going to invest in the Xbox brand is huge. And having a presence in Japan is something that, see, people don't understand. They had no foothold, not even a footprint. Hell, a fingerprint in Japan. But with obviously, xCloud and the new consoles coming out and them really digging their heels in working with the Japanese community and developers, I think that this is going to be a much different generation. But Pope, for you personally, obviously you heard some of the games that we talked about. Anything jump off the page for you that you were like, oh wow, I'm glad that's coming out for the Xbox?
Do you know what it is? It's because I'm I'm a gamer, but I'm not a hardcore gamer because I never really get time, to be fair. But one of the things, because over the years, people have always said, Xbox has struggled in the likes of Japan and stuff. But just from the show, and I've only just sort of went through it. Do you know what I think will be really a good seller out there is the Xbox Series S.
Oh yes, mm-hmm.
Because it's such a culture, and and I think you've got to understand. Even here in England, we've got so many cultures on my doorstep, and people, work in different ways here, and like you say, it's an American company, so they're easy going to think in that way. But I think the Series X being so small, compact, they can just sort of move it around. I think that is going to be key to a lot of the success out there, and I don't think the Japanese market are so attached to the need HD graphics or the need all this. It's just literally they enjoy playing games, so I think from the show, I think they're going to stand well hardware wise. But yeah, the games looked just as fantastic,
Well, obviously it's going to be launching worldwide. This is something that did not happen the last time. They launched in Japan almost a year later. When you look back to 2013, and obviously not having enough consoles to launch in that region, it hurt them, and it certainly made the Japanese customer feel a type of way. We know that Sony launched not initially, but it might have been a couple of weeks after. And that's understandable when you're trying to launch a new console. But the way Microsoft did it, again, it wasn't done, and it might have even rubbed the community the wrong way. And they were already on thin ice with the Japanese market. But this time around, it seems like they have all of their ducks in order for sure. And it's going to be interesting to see, being that they're launching in 36 countries as opposed to Sony only releasing in 7, how that is going to affect the brand. And I think this is going to be a much different generation.
Do you know another thing? I was kind of watching that Bethesda interview the other night with Phil and Tom and Howard and stuff like that. And do you know? I know we know about Game Pass,
Yes.
But what was fascinating is how much they celebrated Game Pass. That like how they finally understood it. It was like, oh my God, this is like, why have we not done this years ago? It was almost, and it was fascinating to hear, because I think as Xbox starts to move into different countries, I think having that also attached to your account, it's going to be pretty spectacular for Xbox, I think.
Yeah.
And like I say, I don't care who sells the most consoles. It doesn't really enter my head. But it's nice to see a lot of people's hard work being rewarded. That's kind of how I look at things.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And listen, you got to give Phil and that team credit for turning around a brand that at one point, people don't understand how close this brand was to close to going away. And it was Phil Spencer, and what he said to Satya Nadella that we have everything that we have, and that's why I'm so happy to see that success, the excitement with the community, the selling out of the Series S and X. Now, of course, if you didn't get one, and I was very, very lucky to acquire both. Well, actually, obviously, if you missed it, I got it live on the air. I might even sweared when I got it. I don't even remember. I was so excited.
I think you might have.
I'm pretty sure I did. I might even use the F word, which I don't like to normally do, but sometimes it just comes out. I was bummed out of my mind, but I finally got it. Now my brother and I are working to secure the one we're giving away, and as soon as we can secure that, we do have the PlayStation paid for. Mrs. Boom has a DualSense and a new Series X controller, and of course, the 10 games we're going to give away. That's easy. That's just buying the games and sending over the code. But the last piece of the puzzle is another X to give away, and we're currently working on that. But listen, I want to go into the next topic as we close in on not only the first 60 minutes being past us, and this has been one hell of a 60-minute show so far. I want to celebrate and say thank you to the 800 people already in the chat. My God, folks, you don't understand.
Is that record breaking? I think it's record breaking.
Well, it might be. I don't think we've ever had this many people in the chat, and it just seems like this week is a good week for Team Double Barrel Gaming because, listen, folks, I'm just a humble dude. This was a hobby of mine, dream come true. It's a second career for me, and the unbelievable amount of support is it's bananas. My original goal at the start of the year was 5,000 subs. By the end of 2020. Now, obviously, 2020 took a shit, and it just threw a monkey wrench into everything. But the channel has exploded. I don't know. Under 100.
With all these super chats, I think you'd be buying yourself a new house or something. Or
listen, well, you know what we're doing. The super chats have been ridiculous. I mean, they have been unbelievably generous, and that's why my wife and I, and of course my brother Neo Mental, are turning that money and giving it back into the community with a $1,500 prize package in total for the first to celebrate the launch of the Series X and the PlayStation 5. And of course, then we're going to do a big giveaway tomorrow, and then we're going to do Christmas with Boom, which is another big one. And we're taking the money from super chats and we're kind of giving it back to the community. So it's going to be a lot of big announcements coming. But you know what I want to do?
We're very much alike. You say that's the problem.
Well, no, I mean that's the best way to be.
We're too generous, aren't we, Boom?
You know what? I would rather be wrong for being generous than being right for being selfish. If that makes any sense. And
it's funny. I always remember saying it's not about being noticed; it's about being remembered.
Very good one. Yes.
And that's kind of what I like to stick to, especially the stuff that I do, it's, it costs nothing to make someone smile.
Yeah. I always say at the end of every show, it doesn't cost anything to be nice, man. My pop taught me that one early and often. But you know what, this next topic is a little spicy, folks. So get ready, because This is Microsoft, kind of ex-Microsoft employee, kind of scratching back at not only Sony but the community. Now, when Sony decided to change gears after telling everyone that next generation starts with the PlayStation 5, and that many of their huge AAA first-party titles would not be released on the PlayStation 4, leaving 110 plus million gamers forced into buying a new PlayStation 5. Well, they did a 180, as we know, and many people in the community are crying foul. Well, one said person, former Xbox staffer. Our Albert Penello had some choice words for many in the community for their attacks on Phil Spencer, Aaron Greenberg, Matt Booty, and many others who represent the Xbox brand. Now, Albert Penello, if you don't know, was Microsoft's senior director of console marketing. He joined the company back in October of 2000 and was tasked with overseeing all hardware, accessories, and experiences planned for Xbox and Microsoft's interactive entertainment division. He left after 18 years and is currently employed at Amazon. Now, here is what Albert had to say after the PS5 event and what transpired shortly after. He says, interesting turn of events today. Things that were held as being core to Sony's philosophy, we believe in generations, in parentheses, and bad messaging by Microsoft, console exclusives, also on PC, were both embraced on today's show. Good validation for the Xbox strategy. He also continues with this. I'm just reminded of all of the crap that was thrown at Aaron Greenberg over console exclusive messaging, which was very clear and very accurate, only to have it show up at the top of Sony's show today. I assume there will be a flood of apologies on Aaron's feed. Now we know he didn't get any of those. And this really, someone's ringing. That's wonderful. You know what, Semi, take the question, brother.
So, I mean, I think the overall, he didn't get any apologies, right? And I don't think that that's going to come as a shocker to really anyone, right? And to me personally, like, my own integrity is very, very important to me. And so whenever I go out and I say something and I'm wrong, I own up to it, right? Like I truly do. I never go out and like maliciously attack, any person, even if they're, the worst person on the planet. I'm not going to go out and maliciously attack them. But in those types of situations, I think an apology is definitely kind of should be expected. I don't 100% remember a lot of the things that were said, towards Aaron Greenberg and just Team Xbox in general, and or who specifically said those things. And I would say, on the lines of, who should give an apology, who shouldn't give an apology, if any of the individuals that, were maliciously slandering Xbox, trying to diminish their brand and just talking awful about them, absolutely, those people should have to, or maybe not have to, right? I mean, we don't live in a dictatorship, but those it should kind of be expected for those people to give an apology. Now, any media sites that might have just disagreed with Microsoft's approach, they just had a different opinion on what they thought Xbox should be doing, and how they potentially thought that the direction that Sony was doing was better, and there wasn't anything malicious or slanderous about what they were saying. Of course, I don't think that they need to necessarily give out an apology, but for a lot of these for a lot of these news sites and even content creators like us, for any of the ones that were, slandering and all this different stuff, I mean, no apology is ever, I don't think anyone is going to really expect any apology to come from them.
I agree.
But in moments like this, I think it's really important to always back check what the people who you're listening to or who you're reading, the content that they produce, keep in mind what they're saying, and, each and every week, and make sure that it stands up. Right. If I come on this podcast one day and I'm talking about how much, Xbox is the greatest thing, and then next week I come on here and I'm saying Xbox is the worst company ever, we should burn them down to the ground. And then the following week I come back, cheering Phil Spencer and always saying, I always said he knew exactly what he was doing. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I think you definitely need, at least in these times today, probably more than ever, you need to keep a constant vigilance out there of what the people that you're, getting your news from, what they're constantly saying, so that in a moment like this, you know where is the most accurate source to get your news. And for a lot of these, content creators and people in media, I think a lot of people kind of forget how social media remembers, right? I think a lot of the writers who, wrote slanderous things about Xbox and was building up Sony, I think a lot of them kind of think that, they can say whatever they want one week and then, say something else the next week, and no one's going to remember and there's not going to be any consequences. So even if these people don't go out and explicitly apologize to Xbox, which they won't, if they were slanderous and all that, even if they don't do that, they will definitely, it will catch up to them. There will be repercussions down the line for them, flip-flopping and going back and forth and just not keeping with their, keeping up any form of integrity.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I apologize for the unbelievable ringing that you heard. That was Amazon literally destroying my podcast live on the air. I always say this. I feel like Greg Miller. I don't have a studio like Greg. Eventually, I will have one when someone picks me up and syndicates Double Barrel Gaming. Well, one day. But you know what? I want to go to Boxer Bear next on this, because this is, again, it is a little spicy. It is a little controversial. But we have seen the pandering that Sony gets from many of these sites, and I really have to not only applaud but champion Albert Penello for calling him out. Now, granted, he didn't specifically say a particular site, and I think that was wise of him, because he obviously still works for Amazon and he doesn't want any trouble. But the fact that he mentioned it, I mean, listen. We know that Aaron Greenberg gets shit all the time for something that he says. And don't get me wrong, I've kind of, been a little hard every now and again, and he does something, he puts something on Twitter that's misconstrued or it's not clear. But I never bashed him, because obviously we all make mistakes. I think Aaron is not only a fantastic human being, I think the guy is perfect for what he does. And he is, I mean, listen, when you compare big time, big position executives that go out of their way to speak to the community, you're not getting that in Nintendo. You're not getting that from Sony. You are getting that only from Microsoft. So of course I loved the fact that Albert Penello came out and put on the Earth Defense Force shield. And kind of pointed this out, that, hey, listen, it wasn't fair. What are your thoughts of Albert's comments regarding the shit that Aaron Greenberg got from a lot of the mainstream media?
Yeah, I loved it because he's spot on. But if he still were in the Microsoft executive ranks, he would never be able to speak up like that. And I think it's only fair to say what he said, because if we look at the whole media landscape, and also a lot of the bigger influencers on YouTube and other social media channels, there is no denying that there is a double standard sometimes when it comes to the Xbox brand and how Xbox handles things. And we have to give Xbox credit for being so transparent over the last year or so, leading up to this console launch. It's a complete different Microsoft than we have seen in 2013. Yeah, and I think people do not give them enough credit for being that open. If I look at my question list that I have about the PlayStation 5, and if I look at the questions I have about the Xbox, there's just a significant delta in between.
Yes.
Too.
Why don't you touch on that for a second? Because you said something that's interesting, Boxer Bear, and I hope that you do a video on this, because you have a certain way of breaking it down where you make it super accessible. This is a roles reversal. This is if you take both companies and you go back to 2013, and now you move forward 7 spaces to 2020, and you basically are just taking two companies and switching them, because the transparent and the consumer friendly and the price friendly and the power Xbox. The misconception, the lies, the deceitfulness, the no clarification. That's Sony right now.
Yeah, it is. I covered a few things of this on my video from Monday, where I asked the question, why don't Sony fans speak up? Because this is really the thing that I have to ask myself. I can understand trying Sony making those moves. Yeah? They just want to make more money. Yeah? That's what every company wants to make.
Yes.
Microsoft didn't buy Bethesda because they want to do a goodwill to us. They want to make that money back. Yeah, but the way how they do it is just different. Yeah, they try to sell you value right now. Sony tries a different thing, and as much as or don't get me wrong, of course I speak up against that practices that they have right now, the lies and the weird messaging and the really not customer friendly moves. But I understand why Sony is doing it. What I don't understand is that the fans don't argue about that. We have, of course, the exceptions. Joe, who is unfortunately not here today, is a big PlayStation fan, and he is one of the rare exceptions that really speak up and say this is not good what Sony does. But I've posted this on Twitter, and when I went through the comments, it was one of my most successful tweets ever. It got 800 likes or something, and hundreds of comments. And when I browsed through that thread, I've seen PlayStation guys making excuses after excuse after excuse, and this is what I don't understand. Why can't they speak up against Sony? The Xbox fans do it. They do it all the time. When Xbox didn't have first-party games, the Xbox community, everyone here on the panel, many of those in the chat, I've seen the Xbox fans constantly speak up. Xbox should do this better or that better, and I don't see that that much from the PlayStation community. And this is what I do not understand, because if we don't speak up as gamers, and I'm also a PlayStation fan, even though I'm here not right now on the Xbox Factor podcast, I'm also a PlayStation fan, and I want to do want that Sony does better by me, because I've spent a lot of money investing in their ecosystem and a lot of time, and I just am not aligned with the way how they handle their businesses right now, and it's just strange to me to see that the community is not speaking up against that. I've seen comments like, it's okay that they increase the game prices. I mean, I would pay $100 per game because the PlayStation games are so good, and stuff like that. This is something I really do not understand. But maybe this is also a bit a thing of the year 2020 right now, because if Sony would have done that 3-4 years ago, probably we wouldn't notice it that much. But since Microsoft has really changed the way how they handle their businesses, it really starts to get to me, because paying now 80 euros here in Germany, which so we were already at the price of 70, so it increased to 80. Paying 80 euros for a game, just for instance, is really starting to annoy me when I pay 15 euros a month for Game Pass Ultimate and I get hundreds of games to play. And being transparent, I just know that my stuff works. On the Xbox, all my controllers, my headsets. I don't know. Can I use my Astro A50 on the PlayStation 5? I don't know if I have to save extra money to buy a new headset. I don't know that from PlayStation right now, and it starts to annoy me because the way how Microsoft is handling their approach to the next generation right now is so different than what we are used to in the console business. That of course Sony is looking not as or is looking worse right now than they are actually are, because 3, 4, 5 years ago this was the standard how generations work, how the console business, the video game industry works. It's just the standard. It's nothing strange. But since Microsoft has changed the industry, it starts to bother me more. And I hope that more in the PlayStation community just speak up, because I want Sony to do better by us gamers.
Well, you know what? There's the one thing that continues to arise when talking about Sony in 2020 is the word arrogance. And if there's one person that exudes arrogance, it's Jim Ryan for sure. And I don't mean it as disrespect. I mean that, the guy's a businessman. I understand he has done amazing things in Europe for the PlayStation brand. I've talked about that on this program and on Breakfast with Broom numerous times. But there is an arrogance to Sony where they feel because they're the market leader that they cannot make a mistake. They can't falter. They can't lose the fans. And I think that is coming into play now. I think their arrogance is going to hurt them. I think their reluctance to tell us about a console that releases in less than 7 weeks. We have known everything and anything about the Xbox Series X. We found out about the S just recently, and Microsoft has been as transparent as a piece of glass, whereas Sony has been a tinted window that you kind of can see through, but you don't really know what's behind there. And that arrogance might be something that we saw come into play during the PlayStation 3 era. Now, again, this is not an attempt to bash Sony in any way. We just have to speak the truth. VJ, you've been sitting there. You've heard you've heard Zemi. You've heard my points. You've heard obviously Boxer Bear. I want to bring you in, but I also want to introduce Crispy Bomb. Welcome to the program, dude.
Oh, what's up? I saw it a little too late, but I'm here.
No, listen, dude, you're right in the nick of time, because the first half of the show we were talking to our incredible royal guest known as the Xbox Pope, and we're going to get his opinion secondly, and we're going to come back to you about this. I know you're going to have some choice words for this particular topic, but VJ, you've heard what we've said so far. I mean, what are your thoughts on the way Albert Penello defended Aaron Greenberg, and rightfully so, in my opinion?
I've listened to everyone's opinion so far, and there's just so many comments and views here. So I'm going to give my opinion from my narrow band of frequency that I live within. So just to caveat what I'm going to say, because it might be a little bit all over the place, but remember that I'm trying to look at this from everybody's point of view. Sony's, Xbox's, Greenberg's, everyone's, even the press. So it may come across slightly contradictory, but here goes. For me, from what I'm seeing, it seems to me that whatever Microsoft or Xbox do in regards of moving the console industry forward is met with a subtle degree of suspicion, apprehension, or even displeasure. The brand doesn't hold a special place in people's hearts other than the hardcore, regardless of owning a game system or not, say like Nintendo does. So the majority of the media outlets that I've come across, to me, are inept and should not be given the designation of mainstream media journalists, let alone investigative journalists, right? So that begs a question: why would you expect, or actually, why would you even want an apology from people who have probably never spent a day working at a publisher, a developer, or even a retail outlet, nor probably even visited a trade show or a consumer event to speak to people in industry, or have they ever even sort of like reached out to indie developers trying to promote them? Well, those guys are trying to promote themselves on social media, which is difficult given how much traffic there is on there. But to approach them and do a deep dive article on them and give them exposure, they only tend to sort of, from what I'm seeing, right, this is from my perspective, is that they seem to regurgitate sort of ill-informed or poorly analyzed rumors or speculation, or paraphrase quotes and so on and so forth, or they present, when it's really quiet, they seem to present sort of like baseless scenarios with no real substance or thought given to them. And that's my fundamental issue. You have to look at the possible reasons why this is happening to Xbox more so than to the other two. I think Halo Infinite is a good one to just to look at. In July, was supposed to be, when the showcase happened, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, was to be the first major title launch from Xbox Studios that was supposed to blow the public away. It was supposed to be that cross-platform and cross-hardware generation title to showcase that game design and visuals to a degree, wouldn't be held back, and that we would get to experience these future games and on older consoles, minus the next generation enhancements, right? And we obviously, we're not silly, right? We've discussed this on the show, and there's plenty of intelligent panel members here, right? And on the other shows that I've been listening to, right, on the Mondays and the Fridays, right? And from what I've ascertained from you guys and from other channels that I listen to, we shouldn't really expect to see more on offer from PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X games right now for at least another 12 months, other than enhancements such as ray tracing or improved physics for destruction, closed sims, visual effects, frame rates, resolution, and loading times, right? And pretty much everything that's available on the high-end gaming PCs. The true next generational games can't wait, right? Can wait, right, until install bases make it feasible to release them. Everything we are seeing right now seems to be on a current sort of souped up PS4 and Xbox engines, akin to sort of like Unreal 4.25. It was Xbox's inability to execute and deliver the Halo Infinite game in order to establish and cement its promise and capabilities. You have to deliver on your mission statement, and I think that was a big one. Don't just sort of place written and spoken words into the universe and expect them to stick. And King David made a really good point. If you spit upwards, expect it to come back and hit you in the face, right? And I'm speaking to Aaron Greenberg here, right? Because in May, he tweeted out where he said, I think it was after Sonar, and I think it was in May, correct me if I'm wrong, my memory's not as what it used to be, but he said, we believe in generations of hardware, a noble, and I believe that was a noble and welcome gesture, but to execute and deliver was critical, because you've placed your brand and reputation in the line of fire, and that's what the press and the media look to do with anyone saying anything, right? That's how they generate clicks, news, and information and growth, right? You can't just, and so for Phil and his team and everything that they're doing, it is great, but they can't take the eye off the ball and understand the ramifications of not just what they say, but in terms of how the Xbox fans and the fan base take it, but also more importantly to the 3 billion consumers that I think it was Phil Spencer, it was Phil, that was on Fox and CNN after the Bethesda announcement, and he kept repeating that on CNN and Fox, that those are the ones that are enticing, that they're targeting and enticing towards the Xbox ecosystem. So fans of a service or device, whether you're Nintendo, PlayStation, or Xbox, in my lifetime, can often be forgiving. And quite frankly, I see that I see the most loyalty, an incredible amount of loyalty from Xbox fans over the last 7 difficult years, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just for their loyalty, but their tenacity to demand better. And all in all, they have forced Xbox into a 180 and made them respond. And I would say, do not let up.
Yeah, great point.
Same goes for fans of Nintendo and Sony. They should look at what has occurred over at Xbox over the last 2 to 3 years and analyze the situation, rather than go around throwing playground insults and ill-informed critique at game-changing services that were and still are in a constant stage of evolving over at the opposition, right? And the opposition is having to look at this, right? And I'm talking about Game Pass here, right? Just in case you're wondering what the hell is he going on about, right? So, and that goes for the mainstream media, and this especially goes for the mainstream media and professional analysts out there who aren't really thinking in that way, right? They're looking at something half-baked and forming an opinion on that. How can you, right? So Microsoft at times, in my opinion, will have thought, during the 2013 up to now, the last 7 years, they're a professional business outfit, right? They would have thought about cutting bait and switching their attention to another industry or business opportunity other than Xbox. I believe, from what I've seen being in the community, and Boom, I haven't been here very long, right? But I believe some Xbox fans over the years believe more in Xbox than some people, past and present, that have actually been working at Microsoft or Xbox itself. Now, Bethesda, right? The deal, right? For me, look, I'm an analytical person, and I don't sort of get emotional about these things. But for me, it's not a bold, smart, brave, intelligent, magnificent, or even a strategic move by Microsoft. Even though Xbox fans are excited, I'm not taking anything away from them. From my perspective, it's a fact that they had to do what was necessary so to not be left behind again. It's the inorganic approach that I feel that people are seeing and subconsciously not at ease with. That's what I think is going on. Microsoft spent $7.8 billion acquiring Nokia, right? That's still fresh in my mind. In a matter of a few years, Microsoft decided to write that deal off completely for a value of over $8 billion. And let's not forget, right, the 78, I think it was 7,800 people, right, that were laid off. Microsoft bought Nokia. Again, they bought it. Why? To grow their mobile division and to dominate an industry inorganically. This does not always work and can have a human cost to it, which we really, really can't ignore. Another issue is in the trust level of the Xbox brand. And this is why what Zemi was saying earlier, I'm really intrigued to see what that whole expose was that Phil and the team did over there. It's really important to have actually look at. But anyway, getting back to it. So building the trust level back into the Xbox brand and rebuilding the brand will take time. Again, people aren't patient, right? The media aren't patient. They'll just jump on it today. And if they do build the brand successfully going forward, they'll just say, oh my goodness, you know, Xbox, the talk of the town, and so on and so forth. But you have to understand that this is a US-based podcast, and I'm only suggesting this politely. You don't truly understand and grasp how poorly the Xbox brand has been mismanaged and thus not perceived and respected very well outside of the US. This must be addressed, in my opinion. Stop appealing to the local and focus on making Xbox a more global, accessible brand. And how do you do that? Forget about what you think you know Xbox. Go native in territories, go deep, go there and understand every culture. You still don't have exceptional people capable. And I've experienced this firsthand working with Xbox. So I know, right, from the past, right? Maybe it's changed right now, but I don't see those changes coming through right now. Maybe they will. And maybe this show that Zemi talked about, that's why it's so fascinating for him. I'm going to definitely go away and watch it and drop the Microsoft branding. So, and you're going to ask me like, why drop the Microsoft branding, right? You can break down to a couple of shows ago, right? Why and how, and I broke it down on this very channel. So I just want to just make a quick mention on Sony if I can, Boom, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So this is also Sony's philosophy in terms of what I said in developing cultures and working in countries, and so is Nintendo's, right? And that's why Nintendo have a special place in people's hearts. They've blossomed over time. They've worked more. How can I say? They've grown and blossomed in an organic way, not in an entirely artificial way. Of course, they've made acquisitions over time, right? It's just part of the process, but. This is why for me, Sony and Nintendo are more admired, and you can't take it away from them. They've built what they have, but again, nothing lasts forever. And I think that is the point that you made, Boom, just towards the end of the last thing you just said, right? That brought something to my mind. Longer term, and I know that Jim is a professional. He's been in the industry a long time. He's extremely capable. He's proven to be so. But is he the guy of breaking down Sony PlayStation, modernizing it, optimizing it, and rebuilding it if economics dictate? And I'm talking about Microsoft and Game Pass. The situation. And if the need for it arises, who's giving Jim counsel and perspective? And I'll explain why I'm asking that question, right? And it's all about what you've been saying, Boom. I asked the question since they have recently shown that they are at an inflection point, and that's normally caused by a lack of time and pressure. Big decisions in a short amount of time and mistakes can occur. And they traditionally do. And we've been seeing that, right, from both sides, but more so recently from Sony. That's what's quite concerning, right? Pressure can be telling, right? We're only human beings at the end of the day. But I can go into that more, but maybe another podcast or so on and so forth. So just talking about Sony, why did Sony seemingly do a U-turn on its policy of truly focusing on next generations and saying that that's our only focus and strategy? And I think this is not a strong one, but I think it was a gamble to play it out this way by Jim. Put yourself in Jim's shoes, right? If he had come out with this true strategy prior to Xbox Series S and X pricing announcements and so on and so forth, Phil and Co would definitely have priced their S lower to attack and eat into the 110 million PlayStation 4 owners, right? Mm-hmm. They had to hold on to the cross-generational news. I probably would have as well, right? Not knowing where the pricing is going to land, and it fooled even Aaron fell for it, right, with his tweet that he came out, right, to counter what it was, right, and it may have paid off. And I may be completely off the mark, right, but we're hypothesizing here, right? I don't have a crystal ball in front of me. However, calling Sony liars is a little strong, in my opinion. Withholding pertinent information could be a claim laid at Sony's doorstep, in my opinion. None of us have actually parted with any cash prior to the announcement. And although we may have been provided the information a little late, we still have a personal choice and decision to make. And I think the announcement that Sony are remaining multi-format across PlayStation 4 and PS5 makes total sense. And obviously a lot of people will be happy with it, especially the PlayStation 4 owners, since they're going to want to carefully shepherd those 110 million PlayStation 4 owners, and which probably going to rise to 150 million, right, across to the PS5 over the next 3 or 4 years. It's logical, right? And even if you did pre-order and you still got 2 months to cancel your order if you're not happy, and switch over to Xbox, which at the moment is offering just, I don't know, it's like free candy in a store, right? Go crazy. So I don't see a narrative or a conspiracy or a problem. The issue is we expect Sony fans, if you are a Sony fan, to be better, upfront and honest. We all want transparency from game companies.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll stop you right there because I could see that you're definitely going on to the point that listen, that's where we disagree. Sony straight up lied. VJ, I respect everything that you talk about, but dude, they came out and they told us that they care about generation. Freaking the head of Sony said that. And when he said generations, he said that we go out of our way to make new tech so you can experience new hardware, and we leave that other hardware behind. And they said that to, and I'll use this term, even though it may not be in actual working order for it, terror tactics. In my opinion, business terror tactics to scare the consumer into holy shit, I need a PlayStation 5, otherwise I'm not playing Spider-Man Miles Morales. And they dangled that carrot. As a matter of fact, they even went out of their way to have Insomniac say, we are building Spider-Man Miles Morales from the ground up for the PlayStation 5, and it can only be on the PlayStation 5. That is a straight up lie from both of them.
I agree. I highly recommend to watch my video from Monday where I exactly edited his statement from the June event.
Yes,
June
you did.
this year. This is only 3 months ago.
I definitely agree that it was Sony lying. But what I will say is that they were technically lying about doing a very awful anti-consumer practice, and then they decided to revert and doing an actual good, consumer-friendly action, right? Yeah. So it wasn't like they were lying about doing something great for consumers and then turning around and doing something awful for consumers. It was the complete opposite of that. To me, I don't perceive the lie that they did as being that terrible of a thing.
No, but I think I've already covered that off, right, in terms of them making mistakes, right, and that we expect better, right? We can call Jim a liar. It's everyone's going to interpret it to a different degree, right? But that's not the point I'm trying to make here, right? What I'm saying to you, you can see Sony for what they are before you've invested into their ecosystem this generation, right? And you have an option to go elsewhere, right? That's the beauty of it. And I've already said, right, about Jim Ryan, he's casting doubts in terms of if he is the guide. And I may not have alluded it to it like, bluntly enough, but you can read in my undertones, right, in terms of exactly where I've positioned Jim right now. Is he the guy to take it forward? Because I've already said that, right? Yeah. So it's not as a case of I've got an issue with what you're saying, Boom, or you are comedians.
No,
right?
no, we understand. Listen, we're never always going to agree. I mean, I completely understand what your position.
The sentiment that you have put across is absolutely correct, right? So I don't have any issue with that. So I'm just going to finish off my point here. I promise. I'm just going to be a few seconds. So even if you didn't order like a PlayStation, if you did order a PS5, and now you're seeing all this being revealed, right? And you can judge for yourself that, hang on a minute, this is not what I signed up for. And Sony want my generational loyalty if they're already treating me like this, even before I've released before the system is released. The issue is, as I said, that we expect better from Sony to be upfront and honest, right? And that's where I'm sort of being a bit diplomatic than calling them an outright liar. I'm just saying, hey, we want honesty. We all want transparency from game companies or anyone we support with our hard-earned cash. That's every individual's fundamental right. We want the connection and the respect from the ecosystem that we reside in, and that we've come to love and call home. And it goes both ways, right? It's not Sony dictating to us or us to them, or you to Microsoft or to Nintendo and vice versa. But what Microsoft are doing is obviously right now much more appealing. This is perhaps a less than pleasant experience, right? And even a shock for some, right? Given that all that has gone before. But look, at the end of the day, Microsoft and Sony are in a tussle, right? Sony are a smaller size company, and Microsoft have made it known to them, right? And for me, Sony have been an underdog ever since Microsoft came into it. I remember when the original Xbox was announced and launched, and Bill Gates, every press, media, magazine was saying, oh, you know what, Xbox can probably afford to put an Xbox machine into everybody's home free of charge. Well, how is Sony going to compete with that? I remember those headlines, right? And whatever the crazy that there were, that was 20 years ago. So, but what I will say is give Sony some credit, right? Because Sony have been the weapon Xbox fans have been using and wielding to obtain the change that was necessary from Xbox. And I think if you're an Xbox fan, you know, you can be proud.
Yeah, no doubt about that. You know, Pope, I want to bring this to you because you have something that none of us have had, and that is a personal relationship with Aaron Greenberg. You've talked to him. You can reach out to him on a whim, which is pretty damn awesome. For you, seeing his validation in the form of what's going on with Xbox now, and hearing Albert Penello go out there and put people on blast. Now, granted, Albert didn't specifically say IGN or Kotaku or a particular journalist, but if you wrote bad things about Aaron, and I think that quite a few of these so sites have in the past, it was pretty awesome to see Albert stand up for. Obviously, they're very good friends. What were your thoughts on this?
Do you know what it is? I mean, obviously, because I see a lot of in the panels, more or less answered the question, really. You know, in the sense of why doesn't Sony people or focus more on Sony than their attention's more on Xbox. You know, but yeah, I do speak to the guys personally, and I mean, they're under huge pressure.
Yes.
Internally, but people don't see that. You see, they just think, yeah, Phil and Aaron are not just sit at home and I don't know, or play computer games all day. You know, these guys are up day and night half the time, with like a few minutes to spare just to even respond to fans or answer my DMs or something. You know, I mean, I probably speak to Phil more than I do with Aaron, to be fair, but he's such a lovely guy. Honestly, Aaron will literally give you his heart and soul. So he's just as passionate as we are as fans, you know. So sometimes, yeah, he does say things that you think, oh, you have to be careful on that. And I know I know he does get wrong at his end for sometimes, you know. But I just think the whole media thing, it's easy for them to pick on Xbox. You know, it's that's all it is. It's just an easy target. But I think the guys internally, do they take it to heart? Probably. But I think they're clever enough just to take it on the chin as well, you know. And I think what we need to do as a community is just focus more, not on what such and such said and this person said. It's just to know what we said to the guys at Xbox is being listened to and being acted on. Because it's only going to get better, you know. And are they going to make mistakes? Of course they are, you know. I mean, we is just, you know, the bottom of the pile in terms of, you know, the priority of anything in the gaming world is we're the customer at the end of the day. But I think with them, they don't look at us as that. I mean, I always got told when I spoke to the guys at Xboxes, you know, they look at it as like a soccer team, you know. We are the 11th player, like, you know, and that's kind of how they refer to it as inside, you know, as we as a community are just as important to the brand as they are to running the business, you know.
Yes, I agree. Yep.
And I think to be personally attacked, I don't think, you know, Aaron's big enough and daft enough and kind enough to just forgive anybody, you know. And I think he'll just take it on the chin. He'll obviously be careful what he says and does. And these media sites, it does boil my piss a little bit, like when they get free goodies from Xbox. Like, you just think, why? How did you deserve that? When there's people like yourselves in these podcasts working night and day to do content, or the dealers and the cults and everybody else working so hard. Even like streamers, they're doing like 8 to 12-hour days playing games. Obviously, they have to make a business, but at the end of the day, it's all around the Xbox brand, So I just think, I tend to ignore all gamer media now. I have done for a while, to be fair. I'd rather trust people like yourselves to tell us what's going on, or even just the people at Xbox. And I think the gaming media needs to just grow up a little bit,
Yeah, oh, definitely, for sure. I mean, I'm going to tell you this right now. The one thing that I have noticed is someone has been gaming for a very long time who used to run to his local Optimo with my pop to get my newest magazine, whether that be import from the UK, whether it be import from Japan, whether that be, Gamers Republic, Die Hard Gamer, Game Pro, EGM, when it was a thing, when you get a magazine that was 400 pages thick that you can choke a horse with. Those journalists are long gone. Those, I mean, the only journal, the only publication which is not even in print anymore, or is on about to be done with print, is Game Informer. Like, I still enjoy reading what I still like. That's one of the sites I will support. I like Game Informer. I know that they've had some changes. Andy left, and he's doing a different thing right now. But it's one of the few publications that I still read. Now, granted, I've as someone that produces content, I'm reading articles all the time, and there are a few sites that I enjoy going to, like Game Rant. There's a particular one I happen to enjoy, and obviously Industry.biz is one of them. Sometimes they're great, and sometimes it's questionable. But I agree with you. I think that the journalists of today are children, and they don't know how to manage themselves as professionals. This is just my personal opinion. They certainly do not take pride in their work. And unfortunately, this is a very, very click-based industry. And if you're not getting clicks, you're not winning. And unfortunately, a guy like Aaron, who's a good guy, who is someone that is on social media on a regular basis, they seem to pick on him, and I think that it's pretty gross. But I'm going to be honest with you, Pope. I think that Albert,
it's just because of his soft nature. You see,
yes, that's exactly why. Because they take his kindness for weakness, and I believe that. But you know what? Let me bring Crispy Bomb, because Crispy, I know that you're going to snag onto this particular topic because obviously it is a spicy one. You've seen how there's the media, and obviously the community is always going to be communities because you don't know who you're dealing with, right? Like you're going to come across someone that's going to say something terrible, and they have no footprint whatsoever in social media, and they're just being just a troll. But when the gaming media sinks their teeth into Aaron, and they've done this quite often, not only is it disgusting, it's disturbing, because they're supposed to represent the brand that they're writing for, and there seems to be, in my opinion, zero accountability for their actions when they go, I think, too far. Now, Albert Penello, like we were talking about, and I didn't send you the show notes, had said some pretty choice things. And let me just, I'll read them again, because, again, you have the show notes. You jumped in late. So he responded publicly after the changes that Sony basically did regarding their, you have to buy PlayStation 5 to play this or that, or, next generation starts with the PS5, PS4 owners, you have to upgrade if you want to play some of the newer titles. That turned out to be a lie. And he said, interesting turn of events today. Things that were held as being core to Sony's philosophy, in parentheses, we believe in generations, and bad messaging by Microsoft when they announced that console exclusives also coming onto PC were both embraced today in today's show. Good validation for Xbox strategy. And then he sums it up with, "I'm just reminded of all the crap that was thrown to Aaron Greenberg over console exclusive messaging, which was very clear and very accurate. Only to have it show up at the top of the Sony show today. I assume there'll be a flood of apologies in Aaron's feed." What are your thoughts on a very good friend, former employee from Xbox, or someone a higher up of the Xbox, jumping to Aaron's defense and kind of calling people out?
Well, number one, Albert is a stand-up guy.
Yes, he is.
That's something that a lot of people don't see. They don't understand, like, the reason why us Xbox fans are such just want to see it do good is because we know the good people that are there, and unfortunately it does come off as weakness at times, but we see through that, because the loud few that say stupid things and call them out are starting to look real dumb at this point. And that's because we saw through all that and we said, well, Phil's there. You got guys like Aaron Greenberg. You got these great studios that they've acquired, that these people are constantly giving us information, whether it be a small tidbit. I mean, I see people posting Instagram from Ninja Theory and stuff like that. Like, these people just love to produce great games that people can enjoy. And that's the whole point of the Xbox we know now. And, to bring Sony into this, they flip-flopped. They flip-flop like the loud few in their community have done.
Yes.
So you can do whatever you want. You're your company, but the messaging involved is that, people had to go out and buy a PlayStation 5. And all of a sudden, right before you do the pre-orders, you decide against that. And that's because the people that aren't speaking, aren't loud, are the ones that are like, well, what the heck? Like, I can't play Miles Morales, and for all we know, they could have done like little email blasts of just, surveys or something like that. Maybe, the SOC, that problem actually exists, and they were concerned that they would lose people's interest in the PlayStation 5, at least for this small period of time going into the holiday. There's a lot of things you can go at as far as that. As far as what Aaron has went through, my God, he's gotten trashed so hard, especially by the media.
Yeah.
I mean, we could sit here and have those loud few. Even some of us were like, yeah, you didn't do good there, buddy. But we're a little less, mean about it, we should say. But then the media gets mean about it. Like, do you have anything better to do? Do you have games to play? Because, a lot of these sites are very, at least for this past 7 years, are very pro PlayStation. PlayStation can do no wrong. We talk smack about Xbox all day. And it baffles my mind that some of them are they're going to sit on that throne until it crumbles under them. And that's what they're going to do, because, I already see it in the community. Some people are like, what do I do now? I've been trashing Xbox forever, but they actually made a gigantic move, probably one of the biggest in gaming history. What do I do? And it's just like, none of us saw that coming, but it happened, and now they have to deal with it. And the media is going to have to deal with it, because as people see how you can't have your controller except if you play PlayStation. I don't understand this, that the DualShock 4, you can't use it unless it's a PlayStation 4 controller. It baffles my mind. Like, you're charging people $70 for every accessory and everything, and you have this higher price hike for what? There's something going on in the back room there, or they just want to push that narrative and make extra money. But
no, I think that you said it. I think that the SOC issue is bigger than anyone wants to admit at Sony. I think that they had to eat. The rumor was eat $100 per console, and I think that they are trying to make that money on the back ends of its fans, i.e. us. Because obviously I'm getting a PlayStation 5. Obviously I'm buying the Miles Morales game because, quite frankly, I really enjoyed Spider-Man 2018 and I love Insomniac. Now, I was buying one. What I didn't like is all the lies that came out of both companies and how they positioned themselves as being, it's going to be this way or the highway. And they turned on a dime, which was not cool. I'm happy for the people that don't have to buy PlayStation 5 so they can enjoy Spider-Man as I'm going to enjoy it. But I think that a lot of what you talked about might be the reason why games are $70. It might be a reason why Microsoft is still charging $60 for a new controller where Sony is charging $70, right? So, I mean, there could be some truths to what you were talking about.
Absolutely. And that's where we come into Game Pass at this point. You don't, and you could use your phone. Come on. You could use your phone. You could, you're probably going to have an app come on the TVs very soon. I have a Samsung TV. I won't be surprised if one just pops up one day. And this is what Xbox is doing. They're saying, you know what? These barriers that we've placed ourselves in for, 7 years ago, we're done with them. And this is all Phil's vision. This is exactly why Bethesda has done this with them, because they see this man Phil who just wants to get more games to more people. And there's a lot of people that are much less fortunate than many of us that are here right now that maybe just barely could get a cell phone, and how you might be able to play on that. That's pretty incredible. And the strategy, the worldwide strategy, it's there now. Them releasing high consoles throughout the whole world it was impressive to me, because as Xbox One launched, we didn't see that. We saw them go straight America. Now, from what I understand, for the most part, PlayStation did it just for America this time. So it's literally, I'm watching a complete and total role reversal.
Yes,
it's turning itself on its head, and everything that Xbox screwed up. They looked arrogant. They looked, Donnie Matrick looked like he didn't give a shit. You know what I mean? And that's the worst part of it, is that now we're seeing like Jim Ryan just not able to, fathom that, a lot of fans just won't like that. And this goes back to what Aaron is just trying to be as clear as possible, and sometimes gets taken the wrong way. And I'll just leave it at that.
I think, sorry, as well,
right.
back in the day, it was like, the original Xbox, it's huge, it's massive, this thing, so, they focused their attention on the Xbox S to try and minimize it. Well, for how much hardware they've had to put in these new Xboxes, they've also focused their attention on that as well. Because, I mean, I build these 3D models for real, and the Series S and the X are comfortable sizes, like. But that when I did the model for the PS5, Jesus Christ, that thing is big, like. I'm not kidding you, so I think when people actually get these in their homes, that's when you're going to start seeing the comments of, okay, now like this thing's huge, because even I had to cheat the 3D model, the perspectives on my renders, just to make it look not the size of a fucking skyscraper, because I was like, God, this thing's huge. It really is, and I'm just scared for PlayStation that they, like you say, the rules are being reversed. Yeah, like the comments that Xbox got hit with in 2013, etc. I think surely they should go, towards Sony's end, but for a fact that it's not. The media is going to cover that well up. But yeah, I just thought I would add that in, because it's a fucking monster, like.
Yeah, well, it definitely is going to give people trouble, and people will be buying new pieces of furniture where they have their TVs to better equipped and store.
You're gonna need to build an extension on your house, man.
You know what? You're absolutely right about that, Pope, and unfortunately you would know that. So listen, folks, here's the thing. We had almost 850 people here, and that is obviously a new record for this small show. I have to say thank you so much for you guys and gals being here, supporting Double Barrel Gaming, supporting the Xbox Factor podcast. I just want to do a quick shout out to Mrs. Boom. She gave me this shirt today. As you can see, it's my 50th birthday with Link on there, which I thought was pretty damn dope. And she gave me that this morning. I have another one that I'm going to be displaying tomorrow. No one's better than Mrs. Boom, constantly shocking me and blowing me out of the water. But what I wanted to do is, on camera, is honestly just tell you guys and gals, thank you honestly from the bottom of my heart for supporting this dream. This has been something that I've always wanted to do. I finished one career. I started this as a hobby, and it has now exploded into something that I could not have imagined. The last couple of shows, this week specifically, I've seen an increase in everything: views, subs, super chats, and I am honestly thoroughly moved beyond words. So I wanted to get on camera and just, tell you to your faces that it is tremendously and honestly and greatly appreciated. And, obviously this was a fantastic show. We got a chance to, of course, be with the Xbox Pope. We got an extra guest towards the end. Of course, Crispy will be returning in his seat tomorrow morning on Breakfast with Boom. And of course, I want to get to the outros, but before I do, let me just catch up on some of these super chats that have come in, and quite a few of them have. Let me get to the private chat. We had Stitch 6669 drop an outstanding $5 which says, Pope, when can we expect the new controllers, meaning the Series X and or Elites? Also, can we send in our controllers, and can I get my Series X done in that amazing artwork?
So next year for next-gen controllers and PlayStation 5 controllers, probably not so much Elites because I tend to keep away from them.
Well, those are already expensive in themselves. Yeah,
it's nowadays. It's not about the expense. It's just to have a few teething problems, and I can't be bothered with returns.
Oh yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
So that's the only reason why I don't touch them. And that's it. Right? Next year there's going to be a whole new design range. And I should have some facility to make and produce in the UK as well.
Nice.
So
that is fantastic information, dude. Congratulations
it's getting
on that.
there. And then also possibly maybe next year you might see some big licensing deals.
Nice.
So
Excellent.
you might see some more branded stuff.
Okay.
I am working with two massive, huge game developers at the minute. So look out for them. Big drum. And then also two very well established PC companies.
Very nice.
So things are moving. It just takes time. That's all.
Well, listen. We wish you all the best of luck, and we will support you. As a matter of fact, the coder is in my cart. I'm literally going to order it as soon. Yes, that's right. I'm going to order it as soon as I'm done with the show because I didn't want to multitask. So,
well, happy birthday for tomorrow.
Oh, thank you very much. Definitely appreciate that, Pope. Real quick, we have Elemental PO. Drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says, Pope, love your concepts. Custom decals coming soon. He wants to know.
What? A custom
decals.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to focus more on the fact that I want to give you the whole shebang.
Gotcha.
Brand new controller, box, everything. But yes, there is going to be vinyl sticker versions. Because I'm trying to appeal to everybody, But
yeah, that's a great way to do it for sure.
But it's not my favorite route I want to do, Because I want you to feel the whole experience rather than
just a sticker.
Just a sticker, aye.
Yeah. All right. Well, real quick, we have Fun Speculation drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says, this panel is too much of an upgrade, Boom. Oh, thanks, dude. Super appreciate that. Mark Cardwell drops an outstanding $5 super chat. And he says this, Pope, I want a Guinness themed Xbox Series X. That would be pretty dope if you can get one.
I don't know. I can't see the word because I'm hopeless because I'm dyslexic, you see. But that pizza place yesterday.
Oh, DiGiorno?
So they ended up following us, right? So I was like, all right, okay. So I followed them back. And then they dropped in my DM and they were like, oh my God, how can we make this, So there might be one of them being made. And then obviously the guys from Microsoft were saying, have you seen how many emails we're getting about making this controller.
That is
So-
hilarious, dude.
And
Well,
so
listen.
hopefully, and the messages, and they went, we're trying to get you verified. And I was like, shut up, man.
Awesome.
It's like,
I love hearing this success story. I think that if anyone deserves
Yeah.
it, Pope, it is certainly you. Warwick Gaming Channel drops a $2 super chat and says, top podcast, boom. Well, thank you, Warwick. Super appreciate that. Dragon Wolf drops an outstanding $10 super chat and says, I know I'm early, but happy birthday for tomorrow, boom. You old fart. Yes, I am old. And I'll be joining you at 50 in 2 weeks. Well, happy birthday there, dude. So you'll always be the slightly older fart than me. Have a great day, dude. Well, yes, I don't mind being a little older one, potentially wiser, but thanks so much for the $10 super chat, dude. Alex Cullian drops a $2 super chat and says Xbox Series X times 4 for me, Xbox Series S 4 for the kids, a win. Well, indeed, and that is a big win for sure. Pixelbit G drops another $2 super chat and says they didn't revert. Game was always built for the PlayStation 4. I believe that as well. Reggie Mobile drops an outstanding $5 super chat. Thank you for being here, Reggie. He says, great show. I think Sony came in arrogant, thought that they were going to be exclusives like Starfield, found out that Xbox plans and had to change. Indeed, that could be it. A very good friend of the show, Chaos Theory, drops a $5 super chat and says, happy 50th, boom. Well, thank you, dude. Bounty Boom, another generous friend of the show, drops a $2 super chat. Says, great show. Hit that like button. Trippy Frog drops an outstanding $5 super chat. Says, happy birthday, Boom. Great show as usual. Thank you, dude. I'm glad that you enjoyed it, but thank you for the birthday wishes. Dragonheart Yobi drops another super chat for $2 and says, you need merch, Boom. Yeah, I'm you know what? It's funny. Zemi and I just had that conversation, and I'm working on it as we speak. We have Michael Miner drops an outstanding $4 super chat. Says, great show, man. We'll become a member tomorrow. Well, dude, thank you for that. That's awesome, bro. Thank you so much. And let's get everyone out of here, folks. Again, this has been a solid 2 hours, record breaking once again. Lots of really cool information. We got a chance to learn about the Pope, learn about Pope art, and hopefully you will be transitioned to potentially buying one of his
I'll tell you what,
controllers.
just breaking news, not the Amazon thing. The people are buying the controllers.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Listen.
Sales are selling.
Well, listen, that was the point of this. That was the whole point of this, Pope, is to get you out there. Again, I don't have a big reach like, let's say, a Dealer Gaming, for instance. That guy has a long arm of the law, and we love Dealer. I'd love to see you maybe potentially get on his show and really expand your business. But hopefully we have helped you push that brand. I mean, that was the whole point of you being on here, besides wanting to hang out with the Pope, because guess what? I can say that I had the Xbox Pope on my show, and that is a big deal. Pope, do me a favor, brother. Where could people reach out to you on social media? But more importantly, where could they check out the Pope art for sale in the form of custom controllers?
So you'll find us on Twitter and Instagram as Xbox Pope. And the website is pope-popeart.com. And the reason why it says it's Pope lowercase art is it's pop art, really, you know.
Yes, it's pop art with the E being small.
Yeah, I was trying to be clever. Maybe it's too clever.
No, it's good, dude.
For my boots, because I'm coming up with that 50 age mind, Boom. So you know,
Wait,
I'm getting a bit old myself.
we're getting a little long in the tooth, and maybe our memory isn't as stout as it once was. Next up, we'll go with Zemi Games. Zemi, you obviously are our resident chef. Bravest man of the panel for sure. We got a chance to plow through a Man of Medan. We got a couple of achievements. We didn't do the goal of killing everyone or saving everyone, so I'm a little disappointed. But we're in round 2 as we speak, and we're doing things much differently. Tell everyone where they can find you on social media, check out your YouTube channel, and also find you on Twitch.
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, I have 2 YouTube channels. The first one's called Zimmy Games, where I do a bunch of gaming-related content, such as, tutorial videos, gaming news, game reviews, that type of stuff. That I also have a second YouTube channel that's called Zimmy Eats, where I do cooking recipe videos and food reviews and stuff like that. And I've actually been slacking more on that second channel than I really should be, but I am trying to get back into it and post some more cooking videos on that channel. You guys can also find me at Zimmy Games on Twitter, and I always say this in every show, but I'm being serious. My DMs are always open. If you heard something on today's show that I said that you agree with or even disagree with, feel free to send me a DM and let me know, and let's jump into a conversation. I love interacting with the community that way, and I truly mean that. And then also, lastly, I do have a Twitch channel called Zimmy Games as well. And I stream a variety of games on there. In fact, tomorrow, probably relatively early in the morning, I don't know exactly what time, but I will be tweeting out what time I will be going live. I will actually be streaming Mafia, the Definitive Edition, which is a remake of the very first Mafia game that released.
You're very excited for that, by the
ago.
way.
I am super excited about that, man. Like whenever they pushed it back, I was like, okay, they're pushing it back for a reason, right? Like I'm a huge advocate for giving developers time to do, what they need to do, right? But I was heavily disappointed that I had to wait like an additional 2 months. So I'm super excited for that game, man, and I cannot wait.
Well, listen, great to have you on today's show, and obviously cannot wait to hear more about your exploits with Mafia Definitive Edition, which looks amazing, and I'm definitely getting that for sure. Next up, Boxer Bear, you, my friend, have been tearing up the charts with your incredible videos. As a matter of fact, I think you banged out 2 this week, so good on you. You obviously are still working, you still have your family to take care of, and you're still on this show, but you still found time to do these incredible videos. Tell everyone about your outstanding YouTube channel, but more importantly, where could people find you on social media?
Well, first, thanks again for having me. It's been my pleasure as always. Very nice meeting the Pope here on the show. We have been communicating over Twitter a bit, but we never spoken to each other, so that was fantastic. Yeah, you can find my YouTube channel at Boxenberger, and the same on Twitter and Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, everywhere, Boxenberger. This week has been a crazy week for the channel. Like you said, I put out 2 videos because there were just so many news, and I had to put in 1 or 2 night shifts. So like I said on Twitter, I don't get used to it. I won't be able to do that every week, but it's been great. The comments and discussions on the topics on my channel have been fantastic. Go check it out.
Well, listen, definitely go check out. I like to consider Boxer Bear, or Archimedes, as he's known to us, as certainly an upcoming and rising star within the content creation community. His work is honest, it's pure, it's thought-provoking, and if you're not subscribed, I say, what are you waiting for? Next up, you know him as VJ. I know him as someone that is constantly bringing thought-provoking conversation to each program that he's on. He's been quite busy. As a matter of fact, he's been so busy he might have given himself laryngitis or potentially the sniffles, but he was here today to drop his knowledge as usual. And VJ, I'm not sure if you saw it, a lot of people appreciate the banter and fire that you bring to the conversation. Tell everyone where they can find you on other podcasts, but more importantly, where could they find you on social media?
Thanks, Boom. I just wanted to say, fantastic to set up Xbox Pope coming onto your channel. I've never met him, and I just want to say that was a great pleasure. Zimmy Games, Archimedes, we're always on the show together.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate it.
I'm always shocked when people say that, when they get excited about meeting the Xbox Pope.
Just give me your blessing, sir.
Honestly, true story, when I'm speaking on Teams with the Microsoft guys, even they're like fanboying, Like, oh my god, I can't believe you're the Xbox Boom.
It's just
Hang on.
it's just 'cause you're from England. I'm
just going, yeah, man. Honestly, I'm just a normal guy, man.
And it was a really good surprise as well. Crispy Bomb was always a pleasure. And Boom, I just wanted to say I noticed there was obviously a lot of support, but I noticed that I may have caused some discourse in the chat.
No, not at all, brother. No. Listen, you're entitled to your opinion, and you worded well.
No, sorry, Boom. I just want to apologize if I've said anything discourteous or got my facts
No.
wrong. And again, if
at
I've
all.
offended anyone's sensibilities in the chat, please accept my apologies.
I
And,
think it did amazing me. Like,
And man, dude, if we all agreed on this podcast, it would be super.
It'd be boring
to
as
watch.
hell. It would be boring
I
as
thought-
hell.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Your
I thought you
opinion,
did
man, is your
fantastic.
opinion, bro.
did fantastic, I thought.
Okay, thank you very much, Boom. And Boom, you know that I may be on a lot of different podcasts, but this is the one, where one of the ones definitely where it's like coming back home. So it's much appreciated. Thank you for having me on.
Well, it's great to have you on, and obviously you are on Greenpoint as well, and that's weekly on Sundays, I believe.
That's right.
And you've also joined the ranks of Four Guys with Quarters with Clowns.
Yep.
So you are getting you're definitely putting the work in, and certainly everyone appreciates you. And I want to say this: Greenpoint Gaming is an up and coming Xbox site. I want to funnel some of my subscribers over to them. They are relatively new. They're out of the UK. I've had a chance to work with them. I'm going to have both those guys on my show. I've had Flap on here. He's very well spoken. And I think that if you're looking for another positive, thought-provoking discussion type of podcast, and that focuses on the brand that we love, head over to, of course, that's find them on Twitter and at Greenpoint Gaming.
Oh, correction. It is Green Pass Gaming.
Why do I keep saying
I get
Greenpoint?
confused all the
Jesus.
time. It is a really new show, but it is actually very,
I was
very.
so hesitant to correct Boom in case I got a slap.
Yeah, you know what, dude?
Yeah.
I keep doing that. I
I do
apologize.
too. I do too.
Miserable. I'm a terrible host. Listen, it's
That's what happens when
Green-
you get to 50, you stop.
I should have to pay $5 to them every time I get it wrong. So I'm going to make sure that, obviously I get it right. It's Green Pass, PASS, gaming. And listen, I really endorse those guys highly. I think that they are fantastic, and I will not get that wrong again, even if I got to tape it above my head. So don't say stupid Greenpoint. What is wrong with me? And Crispy, you, my friend, you came in at the last minute, but we love your banter. We love your sensibility. You're always very honest. Even though you might rub people the wrong way, you don't give a shit. And I love that about you. Tell everyone what other podcasts you're on, as well as where they can find you on social media.
Oh, thanks. I saw the invite. I was like, oh no. And then you're like, well, Pope kind of, went in on what he was saying. Pope, it is a pleasure. Wayne's World, we are not worthy. You get, sir.
As we would say, Halloween shite. What basically just means, hey, you're too kind. Honestly,
it's an honor and congratulations. Boom, congrats. Yeah, I mean, this is what I love about being on this show and Breakfast with Boom is that we have good conversations and we talk it out, and we're not yelling at each other and being stupid and talking down on a certain console. We are just critiquing them, and that's what matters. It is at Crispy Bomb on Twitter. You can find me Crispy Bomb 28 Xbox Live. Hit me up. I do play games. I play lots of games. If it's on Game Pass, I will play it. We got a big show tonight. Next podcast 7 p.m.
Yep.
I'm sure it's going to be fiery, and we are going to be throwing those L's out there. I'm just saying, I have a place to lay my head with that type of stuff. We got Breakfast with Boom, another big show tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Definitely be there. Boom is bringing out the red carpet for himself and handing out gift cards, baby. So it's going to be fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah.
And then finally, the Retro Renegades Tuesday night, 7 p.m. It is a just have fun podcast. We just BS, talk games, talk whatever's going on in our life, drink some beer, have some fun. That's what we do there. thank you again for having me on.
Oh, dude, anytime, brother. You're always welcome. And yes, so tomorrow morning's Breakfast at Boom is my birthday bash, and you are going to potentially win one of 6 $25 gift cards. Matter of fact, I just added 2. Originally, it was going to be 4. We've added $50 more, so it's going to be 6 gift cards and a digital copy of Resident Evil 3, both the single player and multiplayer, that was donated by a very good friend of the show, Kay Asante, who was in the chat. Yeah, all you got to do is be in the chat. That's it. You don't got to be a channel member. You don't have to, of course, buy anything. You just simply in the chat, hanging out with us, and I'm going to drop everyone's name into a picker, and whatever it spits out, you are the winner. So don't worry about that.
Will there be any Mrs. Boom cakes there?
You know what? She is making a cherry pie for me.
Okay, I'm going to be there then. Okay.
No doubt about that for sure, because I asked for that specifically because, we are watching our weights, and it's going to be made with love and, of course, the best ingredients possible. And also the 2 special guests that we're going to have. I can't believe we're having these Titans on at the same time. As a matter of fact, I'm not even worthy of it. We're having King David and Wilmy Hood come on, and I don't know if they're going to wrestle each other, MMA style, but they're definitely going to be throwing out some elbows and L's, like Crispy Bomb said, towards, unfortunately, Sony, because they're going to be the crux of the conversation tomorrow, especially concerning the Spider-Man information that was just released by both Sony and Insomniac. And all I can say is shame on them. But listen, tune into that 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, Eastern Standard Time. And of course, before we get out of here, one other super chat came in. Dragonheart Yobi shows his generosity again with another $5 super chat and says, how the tables have turned with Sony and Xbox. Whoa. Indeed, my friend. So listen, I'm going to close out the show with something that is important to me. Hopefully, it will be one day important to you. And that's something that my dad taught me. It made me a better police officer. In fact, it made me a better human being. And he used to say, son, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you, you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast.